I'm growing taller. I'm in my mid-40s.
Nah, he's lying for views. Oh sheesh, it looks like a lot of people are experiencing the same. I was a short kid growing up and suddenly had a huge growth spurt of about 4 to 5 inches in 1 year. I still wasn't tall, but I continued growing on and eventually I surpassed my friend who was 5'9". I was proud of it because I was so much shorter just a year ago. A lot of time has passed and it seems like I stopped growing shortly after that big growth spurt. Seems pretty weird because my father is 6'1.5", but maybe I just got worse genetics being 5'10". I've seen my friend a year ago and he's actually the same height as me. And I'm like, wait a minute, did this grow? I measured myself and guess what? I'm 5'9", no more, no less. I fucking shrinked? Now, before I get into what happened exactly, everything I'm talking about here is pure speculation, logic, philosophy on why you specifically might be able to grow a little more and how you'll do it. Because if it was scientifically proven, then everybody would be talking about it and there wouldn't be videos like these where people would explain some weird occurrences where they grew after their puberty. It would be common knowledge. So before any of you science motherfuckers start spazzing that I'm speaking bullshit in the comments and that I have no studies to show for this, this is exactly why I'm telling you this. Because I know you want solid proof. That's okay. But there's none for some reason. And I can tell you, I read more than 300 occurrences where the same thing happened. Growing taller long after puberty is ended. It's not something so rare. I saw one guy in the comments saying like, oh, you should check your pituitary gland for tumors. Jesus Christ, what, all of them are living normally and all of them have a tumor in their brain? Scientific consensus changes all the time. From what saturated fats can do, carbohydrates, and even stuff like this, they cannot agree if it's possible or not. They can't explain it. And I was talking to a doctor recently and he said actually that by the time you finish medical school and 5 to 10 years pass, basically 50% of the stuff they learned in medical school might change actually and turn out to be the opposite from what it's true. And I don't blame them at all. Human body is so much complex. It cannot be shortened to a simple formula that everybody could follow and get guaranteed results. There are anomalies that cannot be explained, but for this one, I think there's a pretty good speculation. Let's get back to my story. I'm 5'9" now and I constantly feel some lower back pain. After a while of trying to treating on my own, stopping the gym or doing some exercises in the gym to treat it, I watched on YouTube some stretches, nothing worked. So I decided to go to a chiropractor and this is what we discovered. I had an issue that was developing for a long time. My spine was basically curved because of many disbalances happening in my shoulders and my hips. That took my inch, but I also think it stopped my growth prematurely, which makes sense. Our bodies have defense mechanisms. Imagine if I continued growing while my spine was curved, maybe I would suffer some serious problems that would be detrimental for my health and maybe I would die. So my body's defense was, that of course goes for if my genetics are 6'1", for example. Me having a curve actually stopped my body from growing because it wouldn't be safe. Let me tell you why I think that and how you'll use this information to grow taller. You see how I'm doing this little manipulation where I'm always turning it back onto you so you continue watching? I have read every single comment on the video talking about growing taller in 40s. And I concluded one thing. The thing that is pretty much the same for everybody who experienced this. If you had an underlying problem in childhood, such as malnutrition, lack of muscle strength to support the growth, injury, low growth hormone, whatever. Once you get everything back on track, you will get the height that you lost. And I emphasize the height that's in your genes. No bull skyscraper method, putting on ankle weights and letting your legs hang off the bed for unlimited growth. But please tell me in the comments if that actually works asking for a friend. This malfunction theory and mindset is great because you cut yourself some slack from thinking your lifestyle that you had in your teens actually stunted your growth and you lost 3, 4, 5 inches. If this is true, that means that if you don't grow more, you did it to your maximum potential, and that's what science can agree on. The genetics mostly determine your height, that's what they say. And if there were actually some messed up environmental influences that stunted your growth, then you'll get it back once you fix the problem. There is no height lost here. Now, I've discussed this main point, but what are some actual practical steps that you can take from this series, start implementing today and growing more potentially? You gotta treat your problems. You gotta start living healthy. And I mean seriously. Start working out, but in a functional way. Maybe you've been bodybuilding, maybe you haven't, doing the hypertrophy training, but I think it's not what our bodies are supposed to do. They more seem like they're made for sprinting, jumping, being athletic, but of course also lifting really heavy weights in lower rep ranges of 5 to 8 maximum. I wouldn't do the homosexual 15 times squeezing type shit. If you want autistic details about what I've done before I found out about my injury, Strong Lifts 5x5. If you're not familiar with it, a strength program where you only basically have 5 to 7 exercises, most of them with just a barbell, and you're doing compound movements and doing them for 5 sets of 5, then increasing the weight by 5 pounds the next time. It would take me a really long time to explain basically everything and how the whole program works, so I might make a video in the future about it, but you can basically check out the link in the description. I'll give you a link to a full guide, basically amazing, everything explained what you need to know. My idea for it is to gain functional strength, also gain muscle, because you will of course gain muscle if you're becoming stronger. And lastly, it will save your time in the gym, because that was the goal for me. Only 3 sessions per week. I have a lot more free time to do other tasks like sprinting, jogging, and other cardio type activities. I didn't want to lose so much time anymore trying to bulk up and not do anything else on the side. It was better for me to start doing something functional, something fun that can be translated outside of the gym. As for cardio, now you have a lot more time to do it. So you can go on fast walks, jogging, plus sprints, which are awesome, by the way, for increasing the growth hormone, which is absolutely essential for growing taller. You can do box jumps and learn to jump higher, or do martial arts and actually learn to defend yourself, increase your confidence. Whatever type of cardio you like, because cardio shouldn't be something you don't want to do and that you hate, but if you choose the right type that you enjoy, then it becomes easy and becomes something you want to do and that it's actually beneficial. Next up is malnutrition. A rare occurrence is actually if you were missing some minerals or some vitamins. We don't need actually that much. You've been lied to basically. You don't need that much vitamins and minerals. You can have all of them in your diet. But in short, these nutrients are a variety of amino acids from a variety of proteins, vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, calcium. I have a whole video that goes really in depth about how much of these you should consume and why you should consume them, why are they actually important for growth. But apart from deficiencies, there also might be a case where you were eating unhealthy food. Some food cause chronic inflammation that actually disables your body from focusing on growth, and your body then focuses on defending the inflammation. So by switching to healthy food, you now reduce inflammation, your body can grow if it was supposed to grow. This is just a thought I had when I read all of the comments below the video where the guy was talking about growing in the 40s. A lot of them said that they started eating really healthy without many slip-ups. Sleeping. This is where the most growth hormone is released. Your mom was right telling you that you should sleep if you want to grow more. Based on the polls I found, basically 7 to 20% of all people are experiencing some issues with their sleep. Not being able to fall asleep, not being able to stay asleep, being really dependent on melatonin tips. And if you're one of them, throw that shit to the back of the drawer. It's really unhealthy playing with your hormones with an artificial way. I know how bad it is to have problems with sleep, and I also know how it is and how it feels when you cure it. Once you start loving going back to bed and feeling drowsy, and you just drift off easily into interesting dreams. Now, I have made a full guide on sleep, and that's actually the first video on my channel, and it's great. It contains everything that you need to know, but I might make an updated version because I've gained a lot more experience and learned some more things, but still, that initial one I made is really great. Treat your injuries. Like the one I have in my lower back, which is actually the most crucial part of the body when it comes to growing more. You want to get this stuff treated. Don't live with it anymore, because now you know that it might potentially be stopping you from growing more. Here's some rapid fire stuff you also do to be healthier. Avoid dehydration, spend more time outside, reduce stress through breathing exercises, through hanging out with other people. You basically want to live life like how our predecessors and ancient people lived. Their behavior was way healthier than what we do today. This is what we know. Growing taller after puberty is very impossible for a great majority of people. For the very small minority, it's possible, and it's done exactly to what I told you here. This guy did it. Those guys did it. From now on, whenever another how to grow taller video pops up for you, take it with a grain of salt, because they'll be talking about the regular growth spurts, teenager, what you should do if you're a teenager, unless it's the same thing I'm talking about here, or there's a new study that actually has some more proof to bring and more explanations to offer. It's most likely just bullshit for views. I cannot lie, views are mostly why I'm filming this topic, because you guys don't want to watch my other, but also of course giving you some hope, cutting you some slack. And if you think you cut out your potential when you were a teenager because you were living a degenerate life, now it seems like you're not right. You will not be strong in your potential. A healthy lifestyle is going to pay you back. I'll upload the mini sleeping course very soon, because that's basically the most important thing when it comes to good health and also growing tall. Actually, fuck it, I'm gonna give it to you right now. You deserve it because you watched all the way till the end. Keep 2 most important concepts in your mind right now: light and temperature. Light, temperature. Got it? Without me explaining how it works, why it works, you have a biological clock that gives certain signals to all the other cells in your body during the certain parts of the day. This clock works independently. It notes when you're supposed to be awake, it notes when you're supposed to be asleep, and it gives you certain hormones during certain parts of the day. For example, cortisol in the morning for you to wake up, and melatonin at night for you to fall asleep. Even though it works on its own, environmental influences can still mess it up. What are the environmental influences that make an impact? light and temperature. So when you're awake, your body and brain actually correlates that to a lot of light and increased temperature. A lot of sun, you're moving, exercising. When you're asleep, and in order to get to this state of sleepiness, your body correlates with exactly the opposite of wakefulness. Lack of light and lower and cooler temperatures. Most people experiencing any type of sleep problems is mostly correlated to this, light or no light, or hot or cold. It's not common to be a lack of magnesium or some other mental illness. In most circumstances, your circadian clock is just confused all over the place, getting wrong signals. So first, you're gonna try to treat that, and if it doesn't work, then you go to a sleep expert that is actually diagnosed you with something else. So your part is supplementing your brain with the right signals at the right time. In the morning, face towards the sun. You do not look directly at it, but you still look towards it, and you get that strong signals of 10 minutes. Remember that. It's important to be at least 10 minutes. You can be autistic here and set a timer if you want. That's what I did in the beginning. Then you can exercise, you raise the body temperature, or you don't have to. But if you do exercise, it's important to do it as close to the morning as possible. And if you're someone who likes working out late in the evening, 8 to 9 p.m., then it's a little bit messed up. Because now, as the bedtime is approaching, you should be lowering your core body temperature, cooling yourself off, cooling the room you sleep in. But instead of that, you just went through a tough workout, increased your core body temperature a lot, messed up your circadian clock. It pushes the sleeping capsules to be 2 to 3 hours later on. And now you can't fall asleep till 3 a.m. You think it's a magnesium deficiency. If I were you, I would avoid working out past 4 to 5 p.m. And you gotta make it work. I don't know your schedule, I know it may be tough, but if you wanna sleep well, you'll need to be mindful of this. Apart from cooling yourself off, the last 1 hour of you being awake, I would turn off maybe 95% of the lights. Maybe just leave like a lamp in the corner to just shine the room so you can see what's happening. Whoever lives with me at the time of me doing this, they always laugh and find it funny, but we've been always doing it that way. We're supposed to be in a cave where there's no light when it's night. And after an hour of sitting in the dark, watching some braid-eyed YouTube vids at low brightness and night shift on, you will feel so sleepy that sleep is basically the only thing you'd be thinking about doing that time. And that's the third most important concept. Going to sleep only when you want it so bad. If you're going to bed at your certain time, which you always go to and you always must go at that time, then you might run into some problems. First, you'll be wasting a lot of time being awake in the bed, and secondly, and most importantly, you'll be connecting in your brain the correlation between your bed and the battle you always have falling asleep. And it turns into a war zone every single time, and you hate your bed. You'll start being tired and then laying down, and then your brain makes a connection, oh, I'm in bed, I should be awake, and then you're awake right now. That's dangerous, we don't want to do that. So keep in mind to tire yourself out properly, cooling yourself down, being in the dark, and then you'll sleep like a baby. This is the whole recap basically. There's a lot more in-depth stuff, but this is the 20% of the stuff that actually results in 80% of the benefits. So for the end, let me answer some quick temperature light questions which will get you to understand this concept even better. Blinds on or off when you sleep? Good question, but that depends if you like waking up early or not. If you leave them off, the light in the morning will actually make it easier for you to not snooze your alarms and actually feel more alert. But you're gonna be waking up at 6, 7, 8 a.m. when the sun is already up. If you leave the blinds on, then you'll sleep in longer, and you run a risk of always feeling sleepy in the morning because you didn't have enough light. Even though your eyes may be closed, you still get the signal through the closed eyelids. Both are fine because you cannot really judge your sleep based on the first half an hour or an hour after you woke up. Some time has to pass, you need to do the morning light routine. Can you use electronics at night? Yes, but only if you lower the brightness down, sit in the dark, and actually turn the night shift option on where you turn the screen yellow and then slide it all the way to the max. As seeing this bright light may confuse your circadian clock of thinking, is it day, is it night? I don't know. Food at night? I wouldn't. It raises your core body temperature. And if you eat a really huge meal, then it will make you uncomfortable. It disables you from fully relaxing in the bed. I sleep so much better after leaving, like, let's say a 3 to 4 hour window after my last meal between my bedtime. You get the gist of it. I told you everything that you need to know. Now go ahead and do something with that. And leave a comment please supporting this small channel.